the parts of the substructure, the superstructure, what are the elements of the core house, ano yung part ng ating building system. So along with this one, we were able to, our goal is to discuss the 12 basic components of a building. Of course, the external envelope and its functions, along with the internal separations and compartmentation. Okay? So, yun. Along with this one, please also allow me to insert another PowerPoint presentation that focuses on the foundation system itself. Ano yung mga components ng foundation system? Okay? So, I know you have your own copy of the module, but please bear with me once I inserted the PowerPoint presentation for discussion. Okay? So, yeah, I would assume that you know what is a foundation, definitely. So, sino ba? Bing, can you, by your opinion, may I know what is your, what do you mean by foundation system? What is foundation?
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, loud and clear.
From our previous semester, we tackled up yung we somehow tackled up the foundation. It is basically po yung in the ground under, usually po substructure po siya, which serves as the foot of the building together with the column po.
Okay, that is correct. Thank you so much, Bing. Basically, this is the primary support of your building or your houses. This holds the lateral force from upward, diba? From any other parts of your structure. So, this is definitely constructed partly or wholly below the surface of the ground, primarily serves as a support and anchor of the superstructure. Yun na nga yung sinasabi mo. So, because it serves as a critical link in the distribution and resolution of the building loads, the foundation system must be designed to both accommodate the form and the layout of whatever is above, like bahay or building, and respond to varying conditions of the soil, rock, and water below. Kaya, very important sa atin bilang mga designers and developers of the future generation to identify that ang pinaka-purpose ng ang pinaka-ginugol ng isang architect or any other developers are hindi lang yung aesthetics, 'di ba? Ang tinuturo sa atin as architects hindi lang more of aesthetics. Although there is a professional that somehow focuses on that particular aspect of the building, but we have to at least have an idea na ang foundation system is very important in any other structural consideration. Okay? So, generally, there are two major components of the building, the substructure and the superstructure. Substructure is, of course, our foundation system, and the superstructure is from the level 0 of the ground above, those are the superstructure. So, yun. So, ano ang mga nasa substructure and how can we define substructure? Blessy Joy, who it? Kindly read, please.
Substructure can be defined as all structure below the Sir, I can't see it clearly po.
Sorry. Hold on for a while. I'll zoom it. Ayan. Can you see it na?
Yes po. Substructure can be defined as all structure below the superstructure, which is general term is considered to include all structures below ground level.
Mm-hmm.
but including the ground floor bed. The following image below are some of the typical examples of substructures.
Okay, thank you, Blessy. So, substructure. Ano yung mga nasa substructure natin? Okay. Number one, we can define substructure as any structure below the superstructure, such as those below the ground level but not including the floor bed. Ang floor bed na inaapod is itong sa imong ground floor slab. Okay? Hindi siya part ng substructure. Yung mga flooring nyo, ground floor slab flooring. So, part of the substructures are foundation, footing. We also have halimbawa retaining wall below or beneath the ground level, columns that are part of the foundation and footing system. So examples are images shown on your screen are examples of what are parts of the substructure. Foundation nakalaag dyan is strip foundation, although on the other hand, we have the RC pad foundation. We have lots of types of foundation, so I will be showing you later on what are the types of foundation. We also have here an image na sinasabi, di ba? On the left image, this is another type of foundation, pile foundation. This is advisable and recommended para sa mga structures or buildings that has swampy soil or cannot at least identify yung pinaka matagas na part of your bed, the floor bed. Basic example nito, yung sinasabi ko is yung UMA residences here in near Magsaysay sa may Olivan. Okay. Okay. So we also have here ayan, on the right side we have the service duct. Ito naman ay sabihin natin catch basin. Catch basin, we have septic tank. Those are also below the surface of the ground. This can also be part of the substructure since also not hindi part ng core foundation system, but this is also part of the substructure kasi beneath siya eh. We also have here, yon sinasabi ko kanina, retaining wall. We also have raft foundation on the basement. Kung may mga basement kayo or at least meron kayong structure na binibuild na merong basement, we have to consider those parts ng soil na cannot hold itself, na pwedeng mag-erode later on. We have to take note that we have to provide either retaining wall or basement wall. Okay? The substructure is also defined as the lowest part of the building, which is constructed below the ground level. Function of substructure is to transfer the loads from superstructure to the underlying soil. So the substructure in direct contact with support involves footing and plinth of the building. Next, we have the superstructure in primary elements. Ana May Traballo, can you read please? The superstructure.
The superstructure and primary elements. The superstructure can be defined as all structure above substructure both internally and externally. It is the portion of a building which is constructed above the ground level and it serves the purpose of structure's intended use. It includes columns, beams, slab upwards, including all finishes, door and windows schedules, flooring, roofing, lintels, and parapets. Primary elements are basically components of the building carcass above the substructure, excluding secondary elements, finishes, and fittings.
Okay, thank you, Anna. So, yun. After the substructure, we have the superstructure. So, we all know na ang superstructure are anything that is involving the internal and external part of your structure. So, portions of the building which is constructed above the ground serves as your superstructure with intended use, like primary elements na before the primary elements, yung pinaka pundasyon niya, pundasyon above the main core house, we have columns, beams, slab upward, including all the finishes, schedules of course, doors and windows, the flooring, the roofing, lintels, and parapets. Those are part of your superstructure. We have these primary elements na basically components of the building carcass above the substructure, including secondary elements, finishes, and fittings. What are those? Okay. Allow me to zoom out a bit para makita natin yung pinaka part ng superstructure. Okay. Allow me to present from below hanggang pasakat. So, yung after the ground, after this level, simula dito hanggang pasakat, after your ground floor level, those are part of your superstructure. Either external or internal. Externals are columns, parapet, balcony, projections. So part of that. So lalo yung mga internals such as walls, stairs, ramps, partitions, beams, columns, lahat. Those are part of your superstructure, even the roof. So we have here a table showing the difference between superstructure and the substructure. Angeline, kindly please read the difference between superstructure and substructure.
Okay po. Wait. Superstructure. Part of a building that constructed above ground level. It serves the purpose of building's intended use. Superstructure elements includes walls, columns, beams, doors, and windows, and etc. While the substructure is the portion of a building that constructed below ground level. It transfers loads received from superstructure to supporting soil. Elements of substructure include foundation and plinth. That's it.
Okay, thank you so much, Angeline. So we have here the difference between the two. So sabi dyan, according to Angeline's reading, we have, the superstructure is constructed above ground level, substructure below. Kung ang superstructure is intended, halimbawa, it serves the purpose of building's intended use like stairs. Halimbawa, stairs, definitely it is intended for its usage para sakatan. While on the substructure, sa aspect of the substructure, it transfers loads received from superstructure to supporting soil. Okay. Bilang mga layman, halimbawa on a layman's term, alam natin na ang stairs intended use are, of course, para sakatan, para akyatan, di ba? But on the aspect of substructure, hindi lang natin siya i-design based on its usage. We have to consider na merong load ang stairs, for example, di ba? So, we have to take note that in designing particular parts of the superstructure, may accompanying load siya on the substructure. Like, ang pinaka-basic example is walls. sa lahat ng aspect, sa lahat ng mga designers, lalo pag mga ID, interior designer, or architects, we commonly omit the fact that may load yung particular, say for example, wall. Dapat we also have to consider kung non-load bearing or load bearing walls. May mga cases kasi na ang halimbawa ngaya habo ni architect yung part of a wall, ay papatibag ko na lang kasi pangit, hindi siya okay sa paningin. Pag nagdi-design tayo, say for example on the living area, medyo may eyesore, ay pangit ng wall. So let's remove that one. We have to take note that before we consider something like demolition of parts of your structure, kailangan natin i-consider na merong load, kung may load or not, kung load-bearing or non-load-bearing walls ang gusto nating i-omit. So my point for justifying or for that explanation is every part of the building, either load-bearing or non-load-bearing, has load. So for non-load-bearing walls, like ngaya mga dry walls, pwede nating i-omit. Sige, tanggalin natin yon. If this is load-bearing, this is something to think about. So superstructure. Superstructure elements including walls, columns, beams, doors, and windows. On the substructure part, we have this includes on the foundation and plinth, meaning kaya dahil basta-basta kita pwede magtibag. Sorry, may Tagalog pala dito. Sorry, Aliona. Hindi tayo basta-basta pwede mag-demolish ng column or ng beam whenever we opted to, 'di ba? Hindi natin pwedeng sabihin ay ayoko ng column na to, tanggal. No. Because that particular column serves as an entire part of the foundation system itself, either on the sub or the superstructure. Kasi it is part as a whole of the entire structure. So ang comparison is elements of the substructure includes foundation system and plinth are also connected to your superstructure elements such as on the walls, columns, beams, and your doors and windows. Okay. Okay, excuse me. So we go to this. Secondary elements are completion of the structure, including completion around and within the opening in the primary elements. Typical examples are the following illustrations. On your screen, you can see that external walls, such as this one, we have parts of the external walls na doors and door frames, windows, while on the internal of that one are of course door lining. Door lining, we have the same profile of, say for example, that's a door or door frame or windows and window frame, parehas din yon. Cavity walls, ano yung cavity walls na sinasabi? On your illustration is an example of a cavity wall, meaning merong kang aesthetic wall, halimbawa sa kwarto mo, on your bedroom, nasa may location ka na unintended, you were located on the west-northwest part of the house. And definitely mainit, nag-absorb, or even naka-firewall ka pa. So definitely ang solution is to provide at least a sandwich or a cavity wall para hindi direktang ikaw yung rumi-receive ng init. So hold on for a while. Okay. So, yun, para hindi natin direktang ma-experience yung init, say for example, like treatment to secure the halimbawa on a setup na online class, it is important to at least have a noise barrier such as aesthetically para ma-soundproof yung room. And for flooring, we also have cavity floors like yung existing slab nyo on the drawing, meron tayong existing slab, the concrete slab, tapos papatungan nyo ng flooring na gusto nyo sabihin nating wood floor. So, kailangan natin mag-provide, this becomes the cavity wall, and then part is the secondary element na flooring pa din, pero it's for intended aesthetics and another level of flooring. So, floating floor is yung illustration. The same explanation, but magkaibang, syempre elevated yon kasi floating nga. It becomes secondary elements then. Ano pa? We have balustrades on your stairs. Suspended ceiling. Kung ano yung explanation on cavity flooring, pag nagpatong ka on your second floor slab, pag nagpatong ka ng ibang klase, ng ibang flooring type, like floors or wood, it becomes different. The same with suspended ceiling. Hindi siya sagad or naka-fix on your roof slab. Okay, finishes. For the finishes, we have finishes are the final surface which can be self-finished with as with troweled concrete surface or an applied finish such as floor tiles. So on your illustration are examples of finishes. Say for example, on the external wall, pwede tayong maglagay ng kung gusto nyong bricks, accent tile, ano pa ba? Mga weatherboarding, tile hanging, like yung mga naka-protrude na tiles depende sa application nyo. On the internal envelope of the house or the wall, we have the floor trim. Ang trim na sinasabi is yung parang board, parang wood part sa paikot ng room nyo. You can have it. Accent. Dry lining. This was evident on houses na Western culture, di ba? Lalo sa mga malalamig na area. They tend to have lining boards on their walls. Are you watching a series in Netflix na parang designer home something? Meron doon renovation of a series na they tend to renovate a particular part of the house na ang daming interior elements. So hindi siya basta, kasi sa atin hindi tayo sanay sa ganun because we are on a tropical country. At least we are parang passionate about minimal architecture, modern minimal. But on their cases, on the western part of our the other side of the architecture world, they have its own function, di ba? Sa case nila, insulation yon. So, yon. We have also plaster. Default sa atin, meron tayong plaster. We also have wallpapers, paints, and many others. For the flooring, of course, we have the wood floor, the tiles na mga nilalagay natin. Carpet is also secondary. Primary element is of course yung mismong floor slab mo. Secondary element is yung tiles or the wood. And then pag nagpatong ka pa ng carpet, it becomes a tertiary element, add-on siya on your finishes. Stairs, roofs, slate types, different types of roofing are also finishes. Okay. Basic components of a building, we have this foundation. Apart from the building structures, we have the foundation, the floors, the walls, the beam, column, roof, stairs. These serves as the supporting and the enclosing, protecting part of your structure. Let's identify one by one. We have from the ground, we have the foundation system. We have the stairs, we have the ground floor. I'm talking about the floor slab. Plinth. We have the window, the doors. We have your beams, your walls, your terrace, your pillars, which is the column, finishes, ceiling, roofing, and many others. So let's start one by one. What are the components of a building based on its definition? Although I know you know this one, but for the sake of discussion, let's define parts of the components of a building. Um, James Arenas, can you read roof? JC, can you read roof? Hi guys, can you still hear me?
Hello. The roof forms the
po.
topmost
Yes po,
component.
sir.
Yes, JC.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes.
For the roof forms the topmost component of the building structure. It covers the top face of the building. Roofs can be either flat or sloped based on the location and weather condition of the area.
Okay, thank you. Well, so much for the discussion. You know what is roof, but for definition, yan. Let's go to parapet. Lorraine, can you read, please? Lorraine?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Parapets are short walls extended above the roof slab. Parapets are installed for flat roofs. It acts as a safety wall for people using the roof.
Okay. Should I elaborate or you know what is a parapet na? I think it's self-explanatory naman. Anything that is part of the uh, uh, yung external envelope of the house, for as long as it's a flat roof or reinforced concrete that somehow supports the supports your roof slab. Meaning, if this is the roof slab, the concrete slab, anything that is projected para maprotektahan ang ating roof is the parapet. Yes.
Sir, sa ano po, sa parapet, is there like a minimum height for like a parapet? Since like it's mostly found in commercial buildings po, no? Like for like mechanical systems.
Okay. Thank you for raising the question. Wala siyang standard height, but case-to-case basis, di ba? For residential, ang ginagawa kasi is, ang main function of the parapet is to protect the roof from, halimbawa, ang atop ngaya, sorry. Ang roofing nyo is GI, long span GI. Well, on the Pinoy culture, we tend to use GI kasi mas mura. Okay. We have the stigma, we have the usual connotation that if we use GI, it's mura. It's way more cheaper than a reinforced concrete slab. Pero gusto mong gawing modern yung itsura. So you tend to cover the roofing, the GI roofing with the parapet wall, making it more like boxy type, 'di ba, on the appearance. If you can visualize it. If you can imagine parapet siya na ganon, halimbawa from the roof, sabihin natin 0.5. That becomes part na makover lang yung entire roofing. Kung hindi, reinforced concrete slab. Kung GI yun, depende sa function or sa specification mo. But if your slab is more of reinforced concrete, meaning roof deck, ang parapet mo becomes a balustrade, a concrete balustrade, meaning protection siya sa iyong roof deck. So when that comes, kung ganon yung case mo, yung scenario mo, gagawin mo siyang standard like it's 0.8 or 0.9 to protect those persons above the roof deck on the roof deck para hindi lang siya aesthetic, but at the same time, it serves as protection or balustrade on the entire roof deck. Parang ganon. So that's the parapet.
Okay
Any
po, sir.
other? Okay. Yes? Okay na?
Okay
Okay.
na po, sir. Thank you.
Okay, let's go to lintel. What is lintel? Hazel, Litana.
Lintels are constructed above the wall, opening like doors, windows, and etc. These structures support the weight of the walls coming over the opening. Normally, lintels are constructed by reinforced cement concrete. In residential buildings, lintels can be either constructed from the concrete or from bricks.
Okay, thank you, Hazel. So, sino yung may clarification? Sino yung hindi alam yung lintel? Do you know? Do you know what is lintel? Which is lintel? Alam naman.
Door jump. Jump ba
Ano
yun?
yun?
Like the door jump, sir? Like the jump of like ano?
Okay.
Ornamental jump or something.
Lintel is not the jam in particular, but it is a support of, well, commonly kasi nakikita natin yung lintel sa bintana or sa door. Bakit siya nilalagay dyan? Kasi if you can visualize, hold on for a while. I'll try to search for a lintel sa internet. Okay. Wala akong ibang makitang image but except this one. This will somehow help me in explaining. Okay? Ito, yung wood na yan is a lintel. Serves as a lintel beam to support the load ng nakalagay kasi sa taas are halimbawa CHB to. Kung wala kang beam dyan, the tendency is ang support lang is the jam. But ang jam kasi is not a reinforcement. It holds just the door but not the entire load of the, say for example, the frame. Ang lintel beam, this lintel holds the CHB above or any other lateral loads coming from above. So ito ay nagpe-play ng serves as the purpose of holding loads coming from above, protecting the door, and of course, entrants, those who are coming in within your door. Same principle applied to windows. Kaya ang nangyayari sa mga windows nyo, kung makikita nyo, if you have your window lintel, sa lintel kinakabit yung mga canopy projections on your protection of your windows outside. External part of the house, lintel, dyan tinutusok yung canopy kasi ang canopy din is a reinforced concrete slab. Merong bakal plus your concrete. So that is the lintel. Okay? So let's proceed with the next. So beams and slab. We have Joshua Aguila. Can you read, please? Joshua?
Hello
Wala.
sir, can you hear me
Yan.
po?
Okay, okay.
Can you hear me po?
Yes po, yes.
Beams and slabs. Beams and slabs form the horizontal members in a building. For a single-story building, the top slab forms the roof. In case of a multi-story building, the beam transfers the load coming from the floor above the slab, which is in turn transferred to the columns. Beams and slabs are constructed by reinforced cement concrete.
Okay, thank you, Joshua. So, well, we don't know. Sorry, we don't know, but we don't need to elaborate what are beams and slab because this is just a common part of your house. We know this one already. Either residential, commercial structure, we have beams and slab. So this is constructed by a reinforced cement concrete, meaning may cement concrete like cement, sand, gravel, plus an incorporation of your reinforcement like the RSB. Okay, columns. Hazel Sikihor, kindly read columns.
Columns are vertical members constructed above the ground level. Columns can be of two types: architectural columns and structural columns. Architectural columns are constructed to improve the building's aesthetics, while a structural column takes the load coming from the slab above and transfers safely to the foundation.
Thank you, Hazel. So also same with beams and slab. This is just a common part of the structure column. Any vertical part of your structure is from the ground level hanggang kung ilang story siya, columns. Damp proof course, DPC. Uh, Jenaline Rodero, kindly read please.
Damp proof course. DPC is a layer of waterproofing material applied on the basement level to prevent the rise of surface water into the walls. The walls are constructed over the DPC.
Okay. DPC, thank you, Jenaline. So DPC is a type of waterproofing layer na ina-apply sa basement nyo. It's like sheeting. Hold on, if I can show you an example. Okay, guys. On your screen is an example of a DPC, damp proof layer. Isa siyang layer of black sheet na used to protect yung mismong slab mo from from any moisture coming from below. So kasi we all know na itinatayo ang isang structure with an incorporation of an outside element like moisture. So damp proof is to protect a waterproofing sheeting used to protect your basement or any other parts of an external envelope na might as well somehow um, magkakaroon ng problem in the future. Ito, take a look at this one. It's a type of a polyethylene film, black film siya, na sticky dinidikit on any other parts of your structure. Yon. So that is a damp-proof layer. Let's proceed with the next. Walls. We have Clar Anastasio. Kindly read.
Walls are vertical elements which support the roof. It can be made from stones, bricks, concrete blocks, etc. Walls provide an enclosure and protect against wind, sunshine, rain, etc. Openings are provided in the walls for ventilation exit and access to the building.
Thank you, Clar. Same, self-explanatory. We all know walls. Let's proceed with floors. Aliona, can you read floors?
Floors. The floor is a surface laid on the plinth level. In the plinth level, flooring can be done by a variety of materials like tiles, granites, marbles, concrete, etc. Before flooring,
Ay,
the
sorry. Nawala. I'm sorry.
he's gone.
Okay, hold on. Ayan.
Okay.
Floors.
Before flooring, the ground has to be properly compacted and leveled.
Okay, thank you. So, same with beams, columns, walls. Floor is also, we all know floors are. So, let's proceed with stairs. Mary Joy Ulat.
A stair is a sequence of steps that connect different floors in a building structure. The space occupied by a stair is called as the stairway. There are
Mm-hmm.
different types of stairs like wooden stairs, RCC stairs, etc.
Okay, stairs. The same. We all know stairs. Let's proceed with plinth. Plinth beam. Christine.
Yes po. Plinth beams is a beam structure constructed either at or above the ground level to take up the load of the wall coming over it.
Okay, so plinth is a beam structure. Plinth beam constructed either or above the ground level to take the load of the wall coming over. So should I elaborate? Let's have an example. Plinth. Okay, on your screen is an example of plinth. Ang plinth is commonly interchanged with tie beam. Okay? Although parehas kasi yung function nila, it's part of the beam, beam structure din siya. But definitely plinth is usually above the ground level to take the load of the wall coming over. So any other part of the structure na above ginawa constructed above, it becomes plinth beam. Pag below the structure, it's also, kung below substructure, tie beam siya, itinatali. So I will be giving you a link to watch the difference between plinth and then tie beam later on. So let's proceed with um, the next. Plinth. Leonard, can you read, please?
The plinth is constructed above the ground level. It is a cement mortar layer lying between the substructure and the superstructure.
Okay. So, yon. Thank you. Thank you, Leonard. So, plinth naman is, of course, same with plinth beam, but this one is made of cement mortar layer lying between the substructure and superstructure. Um, it is somehow parang a wall, reinforced concrete made of cement mortar layer, CHB, and then it's plinth. Foundation. Sino pa? Evan. Evan,
Hello,
can you read?
sir. Can you hear me po?
Yes po.
Foundation. The foundation is a structural unit that uniformly distributes the load from the superstructure to the underlying soil. This is the first structural unit to be constructed for any building construction. A good foundation prevents settlement of the building.
Okay. Thank you so much, Evan. So, yan, foundation system, foundation rather. Ito yung pinag-aaralan natin today. So, foundation is a structural unit that is uniformly distributed. These are under the underlying soil. So, first structural unit to be constructed for any building construction, a good foundation prevents settlement of a building. Okay. Common mistake when it comes to construction. I don't know if you were able to see videos on the internet or FB posting na nakikita nyo pag nagpapagawa ng bahay. Say for example, mga low-cost housing, unang ginagawa, latag ng CHB. Have you came across with an image like that? Wala pa naman. Kung wala, okay, good thing yun. Kasi the very first part of the construction, in construction rather, is of course to identify and do um, foundation system. Ginagawa yung foundation system. So, structural unit na ginagawang una is the foundation. Makalot ka muna, mabuhos ng footing. Well, makalot is you dig. You dig on the soil. So, to somehow identify or be able to address yung inyong foundation system. Okay, next. Eto na. These on the illustration are, I don't need to elaborate this one, but this is more of what are the load diagram on your structure? Saan, yung sinasabi ko, any types or any parts of the components of your building has its load. So either upward and any other parts of the structure has its own load. Na ang pinaka nagdadala is your foundation system. Okay? So, just need to study this one. I don't need to elaborate. These are just examples. So, we have, should I proceed? Hold on for a while. Okay. Tapusin natin tong external envelopes because before we proceed with okay, yan. So these are the where are we? External envelopes of the building. So for the sake of discussion, external envelope consists of materials and components which form an external shell. Anything that is covering you and your structure, such as the walls, the roof, the ceiling, windows and doors are covering thermal insulation. Yon, those are your external envelope. These may be load-bearing or non-load-bearing according to the structural form. So study this one. While on the other hand, we have internal separation and compartmentation. Ano yung ibig sabihin nun? We have these. Ano yung difference ng dalawa? Pag sinabi natin compartment, a building or part of the building with walls or floors constructed to contain. Diba? Compartment is to contain fire or prevent from spreading to another part of the building or to adjoining building. So separating floor or wall elements of a sound resisting construction between the building or individual buildings. Those are the difference. We have here, normally, as per discussion, do you know what is a fire exit? Dieter Aguilar, can you explain what is a fire exit on your own explanation? Understanding, rather.
Parang it is a room or stairs po ata, sir, that leads outside po from para direct na po yung pag halimbawa may emergency, direct yung access sa labas.
Okay. So why do you think it was called a fire exit? Madalas nating nakikita, we have the emergency exit. We have the fire exit.
I think, sir, sa magkaiba pala yun, emergency exit tapos.
No. I mean, well, they are the same of purpose, but madalas kasi na-interchange. Why do you think? Yes, Aliona.
Sige.
You help Dieter.
So, ano yung fire exit po, no?
Fire exit.
Parang kasi like what I've read po before when I designed last year, it was like because ano yun, there's like a special it's like specially constructed to like prevent fire from degrees. So like the fire door, then it's like specially made for like to prevent fires from like going inside, so like everybody could easily escape down to like the safety ano. So yeah.
Yeah, okay. So basically, Dieter and Aliona, you are correct. Madalas lang kasi because of the common, di ba, kasi masyado ang tao kasi is literally interpreting something. It's not, well, pag sinabing fire exit, ang daming nakaka-misinterpret, lalo pag layman, di ba? Wag tayo dyan because that's the scape. Parang ganon, the scape, the fire escape. No, may mga buildings na ino-omit yung label as fire exit, it becomes emergency exit because yun na nga yung thinking na wag tayo diyan because parang mas unsafe. But definitely not, because this is intended to somehow serves you an emergency exit going down, protected with any other halimbawa ngayon may sunog or any other emergencies, this is protected for unintended use. So my point of giving that as an example is it's because dahil we have here the topic of compartmentation. Compartmentation for like stairwell, it is protected with the shaft itself. Lalo sabihin nating elevator, 'di ba? Ang elevator shaft is not made of CHB alone. Dapat nga it is reinforced concrete because that entire shaft is a load bearing na from ground up, somehow it has the mechanical load of the elevator shaft itself. It holds the entire structure. So for that particular discussion, my point is it is being compartmentalized. It is compartmentalized because of the idea of having it like a protected internal separation. So that's the point of having these. So before we proceed with the learning activity 2, makikita nyo, di ba, after the learning activity 2, you will be receiving your first major plate. Di ba? Hold on for a while because I will be inserting a PowerPoint. Meron na kayong major plate. Sasabay na sa design. Naku po. Ano nga yung design nyo? Are you
Sir,
done with that?
diagnostic clinic.
Okay, yeah. I've heard. When is the submission of that? Of your...
May schematics po kami this week. Tapos,
So,
September ata, sir.
yeah, mga September, sir. September 30, alam ko. Presentation.
Okay, hold on for a while. Okay, ikakagalit ba ni Ma'am Casey kung magbibigay na ako ng plate? Ikakagalit nyo ba yun? Ikakagalit nyo ba yun? Okay. Okay, hold on for a while. Don't worry. I just a little relax on that one. Ikakagalit nyo ba kung magbibigay na ako ng plate? Okay. Strict? I am also strict. No naman. Oh, relax lang. Okay. Strict. I am also strict with the submission, but I'm considerate. That's why we become tandem on thesis because of that. Ano na yun? Wait. For a while, I'd like to read. Grabe ka naman, hindi naman. But pwede ka naman turn on microphone, guys. I want to hear your voice. Joshua. Okay. Don't worry. O, diba? Okay. Hold on before we proceed with the major plate. I am also not joking. Huh? BT is also a major plate. I am not also joking. I am just making it more, hold on for a while. So, yun. Our learning activity number 2 is, hindi na, palitan natin to kasi it's not one story. Dapat, major plate pala yan. So, learning activity 2 is, based on your previous BT2 plates, I would like to see your details of substructure that you have done. I assume that nakagawa ba kayo ng ganito, Aliona?
Not really, sir. Yung pinagawa sa amin parang ano yung mga tie beams, like ano yung mga, yung flooring, ano yung the foundation and the columns and like footings and stuff, pero not like the sub.
Okay. So, I want to see that on your next learning activity. The learning activity number 2 is I want to see your details of the substructure. All of the drawings that you can provide via, of course, submission. Take a photo of that, and then also on a long size band paper, you will identify those details of the substructure, and then identify and provide the components of a it is important to me to identify and give the section based on your design, since we have to be able to locate kung asan yung mga core components of your building. So, yes, we have here that identify and provide components, and then provide sketches of your secondary elements, then provide details of drawings of your finishes. Okay, hanggang dyan muna tayo. Don't get distracted of the major plate, but I am also not joking of giving that major plate because that will be your midterm, grade. Okay? So that is a our goal. So don't worry. I am open to the idea of laying all the cards, meaning I want you to lay down all the cards, lahat ng mga dates of submissions nyo, for me to be to adjust, because I would also acknowledge that design is design. Ganon din ako. Design is major of the major. But BT is hindi joking time na subject. So I want you to consider also allotting your time for building tech, because it's also essential. And yun, everything is important, so hindi naman din ako closed minded on the idea na hindi ko kayo pagbibigyan sa deadline, especially for submissions ng building tech. May I know, coming from someone, voice out if ano yung mga deadlines of submissions nyo? Design, BU, BT, CAD? Yes, Clark.
Question, sir. Do we have prelim exam po?
Ha?
Prelim exam po. Meron.
Wala. We don't have prelim examination for BT. I will be getting your grades coming from the submissions and learning guides that you have provided with me. But it is your prelim grade will be 40% of the midterm grade, meaning coming from the major. Di ba meron tayong midterm plate? Midterm plate is the major plate. So 40% of the entire 100% of the midterm plate will be getting into to give the prelim grade. Okay? That's the learning activities. Okay? May I know, I want you to lay down your submissions to me. Yung mga dates of submissions. Wala pa naman.
Meron, sir. Nalista ko na.
Okay, thank you, Dieter. Can you share it to me?
Nasa ano po, sir, basahin ko na lang, sir. Okay lang.
Sure.
Yung BU, sir, lighting, switching, and power catalog, September 7. CAD schematic diagram sa Monday.
Monday
Design
is what Monday?
30 ata, sir.
30. That is CAD.
CAD, sir. Tapos design 5 presentation. Ano? Schematic, sir. Design 5 schematic diagram po pala, sir. Sunday, 29. Then, presentation po sa 18. Ay, no.
16.
Presentation, 16. Tapos, working drawings.
Hindi, working drawings sa 16. Tapos
Working drawings.
26.
Working drawings, 16. Tapos, presentation sa 26.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Dieter, and thank you, Rose, for chatting it on the in messages. So I will take note of this one. Design. We have this for your schematics 29, 16, presentation. That is final presentation. Huh? What do you mean by design 5?
I think so po. Kasi like may
Final
parang
presentation.
peer reviews daw po eh.
Mhm.
May peer reviewing
Okay.
sila.
Okay. I will acknowledge design. Design submissions. Okay. I will take note of this one. I am yun nga sinasabi ko, hindi naman tayo patay mali siya on the submissions, but I want you to give also your time on BT, because after design we have the building tech. So it's way more heavier than any other subject like CAD. Pero ang dami naman kasing, I do acknowledge na ang daming mga minor subjects na feeling major. So I will understand your case. Yeah, hindi naman tayo patay dyan sa ganyang idea. So I will be laying down the submissions before I give the major plate. But for the major plate, just to have you an idea, it's my statement. You have with you your learning module. You can visit that by reading all. So we will be discussing it after. So, yun. Are you hungry? You can eat, by the way. You can eat while we are having this discussion. Gutom na ba kayo? Or can I still continue?
Yes po.
Yes po, sir.
Okay. So, these are on your screen, guys. Hold on for a while. Okay. This will be quick because I don't want to give focus on the discussion, but just to give you an idea na we have different types of foundation system from starting from the shallow and then deep foundation. So, ano-ano ang mga types of foundation system? We have the following. So, for shallow foundation, excuse me. For shallow foundation, ang common nating, can you still hear me?
Yes po. Yes po, sir.
Ang common sa atin, thank you. Ang common sa atin is yung individual or isolated footing. Yung madalas na footing type ng ating mga bahay. So we have the individual or isolated footing. But ang individual or isolated footing comes in various types din. So we have the block or square footing, yung alam natin. Kung nakakita na kayo ng construction, the usual one is the block or square footing. Typically, once you dig or excavated your footing, ang magagawa mo is a block or square footing. Another one is a step. A step footing, it's a block footing din, pero it's made of parang naka-steps. Parang pyramid but more of like the box. While yung isa naman is a slope or pyramidal footing na unlike step na pwede mong maging parang step. It's like a pyramid. So those are types of your isolated footing. Strip. A strip footing, continuous spread footings of foundation walls. It's like an entire part, yung buong, halimbawa ngaya igwa ka ning retaining wall. If you have your retaining wall na sabihin natin 5 meters in length, the entire footing in between, the entire footing underneath rather is a strip. You will be providing an entire part of that as a strip footing. Step footing on the other hand is like strip footing din, pero it's made of parang made of steps. So that's the definition of that. Combined footing. Okay. For BT3, as much as possible, you have to identify or at least know na may mga cases sa ating plan. Halimbawa, binigyan kayo ng scenario na may design problem. Nagkataon na may magkatabing columns na pag ginawa nyo ng footing, parang nag-overlap na yung footing niya, di ba? Naka-experience na ba kayo ng ganon? Di pa naman. Halimbawa ang dalawang columns, distance niya ay 1.5 meters. And then it so happened that your footing is 1.2 by 1.2. Definitely, sa ilalim, pag gumagawa kayo ng plano, overlapping na siya. Mag-o-overlap yon. So, the suggestion would be, it becomes combined. The two footings can be combined into one, making it combined footing. So it's a type of footing that where it is not possible to center the footing beneath the surface. Supported columns, as in the case of columns located at the very near of the property line. So yun, combined footing yung tawag doon. So for the visuals, ito yun. Take a look at the screen. You can see that dalawang column, isang footing. Sa cases ng magkakalapit, no? Magkakalapit kasi hindi na kaya, nag-overlap yung footing niya. So you have to combine that both. That becomes either trapezoidal or rectangular, regular footing. Cantilever footings. This type of footing may be used in place of a combined footing under the same conditions. Like in this type of construction, the footings of the exterior and interior columns are connected by a tie beam or a strap. So in the case of cantilever, parang from an existing isolated footing, ika-cantilever mo siya via tie beam. Parang may strap lang siya, it becomes cantilevered. So that's the definition of that one. From cantilever, we have the continuous. Ang continuous footing, on the other hand, where are we? Sorry. Continuous footing. So sa case ng continuous footing, may series of columns. Do you have questions? If you have questions, you can pop it out in between discussions. So, continuous footing. Okay. May questions, si Rose? Before we proceed with continuous footing. What is the standard dimension of an isolated footing? Okay. To be honest, there is no standard for footing kasi case-to-case basis yon depending on type of soil, Rose. Halimbawa, sa case ng site nyo, dati na siyang matigas. The soil itself is hard enough to sustain the structure. Ang depth niyan will vary. When I say depth is the rarum of your footing excavations. So my point of saying that it doesn't have a standard because it will matter on your design. Like if you're doing one story, you can just make 1 by 1 meter na footing. But if you go with 2-story, 3-story, the heavier the structure, that becomes bigger. Definitely once na magdagdag ka ng story, it becomes bigger. For a 2-story, 3-story, 4-story, regularly, pag 2-story or 3-story, pwede ng 1.2 to 1.5 on a regular type of soil. But pag iba ang type of soil, that becomes bigger. Kasi, definitely, iba yung approach mo of a footing foundation. Like, pwede kang gumawa ng mat footing. Pwede kang gumawa ng pile foundation. The footing na ibang approach. Did I answer your question? But as to a regular housing like the residential, 1.2 is enough. 1.2 by 1.2 footing is enough. Pag 1-story, 1 by 1 is also fine. Pwede nga less than 1 kung talagang in accordance na okay man ang condition kang soil mo, and then maliit lang yung structure mo, it's also fine. Did I answer your question, Rose? Okay. So let's proceed with excuse me. Okay. Mat or raft foundation. So mat foundation is Ayan, hindi pa pala yung continuous. It's a series of, ang continuous footing is if you have series of columns na halos nag-overlap yung mga footing, you can have an entire continuous footing. No? Halimbawa, 4 columns on the case of the drawing, 4 columns, 1 entire footing. And then for the mat foundation, yung sinasabi ko, mat foundation is like a continuous footing are used on soils of low bearing power which can where there is a tendency towards unequal settlement. Okay, bigyan ko kayo ng scenario. We have this project, the Angat Buhay by the Office of the Vice President. Lupi is done. Sangay is on the way along with Calabanga. Angat Buhay Calabanga will be constructed but sa case ng Angat Buhay, sino mga taga Calabanga dito? Can you raise your hands? Wala bang taga Calabanga on this class? Wala naman. Calabanga, for the sake of discussion, Sabang Calabanga is okay. But if you know Calabanga, Sabang in particular, malapit siya mismo. Parang it's like a 10 meter away from the seabed, mismong dagat na. Ang pamumuhay ng mga taga doon is fishing and then drying of yung mga tuyo, di ba? Famous yung Sabang doon. So ang problem sa kanila, we are asked to design housing, parang subdivision housing sa Calabanga na hindi kaparehas ng ginawa sa Lupi and then sa Sangay. Ang case ng Sabang Calabanga is mat foundation because puwera sa hindi maka-establish ng floor bed, unstable yung unequal yung settlement from time to time, like pag bumabaha, pag bumabagyo, magkakaiba. So the suggestion is we are asked to design a row house, but the entire foundation of like 20 units are entire mat or raft foundation. Just to have an idea na pwede siyang gawin on like that particular instances. So for this one, we have here mat foundation can be divided into general classes like the reinforced concrete or the beam or girder with slab underneath. We also have the inverted one, the beams or girders with a slab on top. Pwedeng ganyan. So ang profile is an inverted underneath the slab. Alright. So for deep foundation naman, we have the common one, the pile foundation. Yung pile foundation, yung sinasabi ko, an example of that one is I gave an example here in Uma Residences near Magsaysay Bridge because of soil condition of the site. So they cannot establish parang a shallow bedrock because malapit sa salog, 'di ba, sa ilog. So a recommendation is a pile foundation within it's a type of system with the following end-bearing or friction piles. We have pile caps and tie beams transferring building loads down to the suitable bearing stratum. So here on the image is ito, mas clearer to. On here on the right side of your screen is a type of a profile ng foundation, meaning isang parang malaking pipe, hahanapin yung pinaka bearing, yung solid bearing of the entire structure, itutusok siya. That makes it like floating, pero ang maserve ng structure mo is the entire pile foundation. It resembles the analogy for that one. It's like a tree or parang a roots of a tree na hinahanap yung pinaka-solid and then it becomes stable. So it is made of pile caps and then friction. Okay, wala siyang, depende sa site, Dieter. Hindi siya, kailangan mong ma-identify yung ang ano ko dyan, ang vernacular term na sinasabi ko is, dapat hanapon mo sa katagasan kang daga. Diba? Pag nagkakalot kita, once na ma-identify mo, matagas na ni, this is okay already. The stratum of the soil. Depende sa soil, sa soil condition, pag nahanap mo na yung pinakamatagas na part, that's the time that you will end the parang haba nung pipe, the friction pipe, the pile. So, once na hindi pa, the more, like pag mga construction baga, like sa example is in Dubai, the Palm Islands, or even yung the Burj Al Arab, di ba, it is constructed hindi naman within, di ba? Yeah, within sea. So it is made of definitely an alternative building construction that uses pile foundation to get the entire stratum. So case-to-case basis yung haba niya. On the case of UMA residences, I think parang mga 3/4 of the height of the, hindi naman 3/4, but near 3/4. Kaya matagal ginawa yung structure na yan sa foundation system. Okay? Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So, end bearing piles depend principally yun. So much for you just read the description. So that is part of the foundation system. Okay, ngayon we have the GI pipe. Before, so kung matatandaan natin, hindi naman matatandaan, but if you happen to see on a movie, or at least kung meron kayong experience on wood construction, wood pile is also being used as part of the pile foundation. So yung mga bahay natin before. So kung may mga cases na nasa uplands or near bodies of water, the tendency becomes usage of wood pile. So, yan. These are, yan, wala din naman. So, we will be ending kasi ito are BT5 na to. I just want to elaborate foundation system. So, yun. Okay. Do we have questions? Do you have clarifications?
Eh, sir, like, what's the template po, tsaka yung, like, paper, folio paper nga pala.
Yes.
Okay. Yung template po, sir.
The same with what you have done with learning activity number 1, your name, surname, sorry, ano ba yung sabi ko? Surname, name, middle initial, and then the subject.
Okay.
Then title of the learning activity number 2. Yan. Do we have any question on the learning activity number 2? Okay, on the next meeting, guys, I will be discussing the major plate number 1. And also, I will be running down the deadlines of that one. Don't worry, because it is hindi naman siya one-time, big-time submission. It will be part by part, because I do acknowledge that the major plate can be somehow linked. I will also talk to your other professors about the following submissions. Might as well we can collaborate with how can we somehow lessen the burden on the production of your major plate, because I do listen. Okay? Okay. Do you have questions? All right. So let's have the attendance first before we end the session.
Naman po ata, sir.
Yes, Dieter.
Ay, di ba sir, chinat kita last time regarding dun sir sa design for, yung major plate ko last time. Is it the reason na
Yes.
nakuha ko na yung plate? Baka kasi may mga feedback na or input na pwede ko magamit.
Yes, okay. Yes, regarding that one, Dieter, supposedly, the last time you chat, idadala ko na siya sa EA. But it so happened that we have a memo na the EA, along with other offices and UNC, was locked down. So, hindi kami pinayagan. So, might as well baka ngayong week makapunta na din ako. So, I will be informing you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. I will inform you once it's available there. Thank you. For attendance, yes, JC, no problem. Mark Joseph Abalayan.
Present po.
Okay, Joshua.
Present po.
Dieter. Adi Alberto. Wala si Adi. Clar Anastasio.
Present, sir.
April is not here. James Arenas.
Present, sir.
Okay.
Sorry, sir, kanina may
Angeline
na-post
Asano.
talaga yung internet.
No problem. I understand. Angeline.
Present po.
Aliona. Raymond. Raymond?
Present. Present po, sir.
Okay. Julian. Julian Buqueron.
Present po.
Angelica Buena. Angelica. Rose Ann Labano. Rose Ann.
Present po, sir.
Okay. Edgel. Edgel, are you here? Nawala. Okay. Yeah, okay, no problem. Lorraine Estrella.
Present po.
Kyle Gapoy. Marisa. Marisa, are you still here? Ayun. Hi. Still here?
Present po, sir.
Blessy. Okay. Blessy.
Present po, sir. Present po.
John Paul Villano.
Present po, sir.
Hazel Litana.
Present po.
Adrian Lopez.
Present po.
Monica Lozano. Monica. Wala si Monica. JC Lozano.
Present po.
Joshua Martinez. Joshua. Okay. Ivan. Lemuel's not here. Ivan. Pancho.
Present po, sir. Here, sir.
Okay. Leonard Pilios.
Present po, sir.
Matthew Reyes, not here. Okay. Jenaline Rodero.
Present po.
Hazel Sikihor.
Present po.
Gerard Serrano, wala rin. Brownout din daw. Ana Traballo.
Present po.
Ana? Okay. Mary Joy Ulat.
Present po.
Christine Valencia.
Present po.
Okay. Do you know Juvie Violeta? Hindi siya nag-reach out sa akin.
We know her from as like a batchmate lang, sir. I'll inform her na lang of your concern.
Yeah. Can you inform her? Kasi it so happened that we are on week 3 coming for 4, so I don't have her info.
Okay.
Can you tell her? Sige. Okay. No problem. Sige. Thank you so much. Okay. That ends our session for this morning, guys. I hope you can comply with our learning activity, and also the discussion of your major plate will be next meeting. Okay? Do we have any other concerns before we end the session?